If you'd like to see more of our videos, please subscribe to our channel on YouTube or follow us here on Instagram. Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Razak at CMtrading. Today is January 24th, 2020, and today is Friday morning. So looking at the major economic events of the day for a Friday, we've got a lot of events coming out today. Starting out at 10:15 South African time, we have a French flash services PMI number coming out, and that's followed at 10:30 with a German flash manufacturing PMI number coming out. Now, these two economies are very important to the European Union, and as such, these numbers are very important. Now, then later, an hour later, out of Great Britain, we have a flash manufacturing and services PMI number coming out. And lastly, looking at the day, we've got a bunch of events happening at 11:30 where we have the Treasury Secretary of the United States speaking, the ECB President also speaking, so lots of events happening today. Now looking at the Forex symbols, we saw the Aussie dollar actually make that fade, okay, where I spoke about both in my webinar, and I spoke about that a couple of days ago where it spiked up, made the correction on the downside, and could have traded on the downside. While the Canadian dollar gains versus the USD, we'll take a look at that as well. Now, looking at the Dow Jones, it's holding above 29,000, okay? So showing some relatively strength there, while the Nasdaq is still strong on the upside. We're going to take a look at a couple of things. I'm looking at the commodities, gold pretty much unchanged. Commodities stay stale. And lastly, looking at the stocks, it's really Netflix that breaks out into the upside. That's one of the FANG stocks. And there we go. We're getting stronger once again. But let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So we're taking a look here at the Aussie USD. You can see that we've had that spike earlier this week, and then we kind of consolidated. We didn't go down quite as quickly, but we made the correctional move right afterwards. Okay, this is really a case in point because I spoke about it on the webinar, where you can't get that initial move on the upside, but you can play the correctional move that follows. Okay, and this is really yesterday's unemployment change numbers that came out, and sure enough, we made a correction on the downside. Now, looking at the Canadian dollar, it spiked up a little bit over here, and it's kind of consolidating around this area, trading between 131 and 129. So we're at that top of the range. We may see a small retracement here as we're hitting a minor resistance area. Okay, so might something to look at for today. Now, looking at gold, pretty much unchanged, trading at 1560 between 1555 and 1570. Okay, on the upside. So with that said, really in a tight range for gold and not really trending, more range-bound trading. Okay, now jumping into the Dow Jones, we retraced the last couple of days over 200 points, and then we're looking up this morning, okay, which was definitely a potential as this hit previous, if you call that minor support area. Okay, we're bouncing right off of it, hitting that moving average, a 14-day moving average, and then bouncing right above it. All right, so not really breaching it. Okay, we've been very, very honest to this moving average as well to the 30-day moving average for sure. Okay, so with that said, we've gained quite nicely over the time period. Now, looking at the Nasdaq as well, it's at its all-time highs. Okay, really dead center all-time highs, 9,262. I'm still pinching myself from not believing, okay? But looking at Netflix, we saw it break out yesterday, okay, to 348. That's a nice little breakout. So, with that said, this still has room to be on the upside. Remember, we've hit a high of $386. We still have some way to go. Now, I didn't mention this earlier, but Tesla, okay, your very own Elon Musk, and as a formerly South African boy who's been taking this company public, and really just unbelievable what's going on. Opening up a production in China and really tremendously killing the market right here. I mean, look at that, okay? This company has more money than GM, okay? General Motors, which is one of the oldest motor company in the United States. So this is amazing. This is really, truly amazing. I mean, this could really, take it even further, okay? Because they are opening up a production in China, okay, which would be just like unbelievable. Okay, the amount of market that they could expose themselves to is really tremendous. Okay, so I still think that it's a spike. It is an overreaction to what's going on in the market, so it's due for some sort of correction, okay, as these normal spikes do. To say that where that is exactly is still premature to say. Okay, looking at Apple lastly, is still on its highs close to that 319-ish level. So as long as it continues with this momentum, I still think we're going up, at least until the first week of February when we hit the Democratic primaries. Okay, so a few things coming up this week. Just take it into consideration. I want to wish everybody a great trading day. Thank you.